Welcome to episode 7 of the Soulful Menopause podcast. Today we're taking a look at why you shouldn't treat your symptoms. We're looking at this from the perspective of holistic nutrition, what holistic nutrition is, and how it can help you during menopause. So stay tuned. Welcome to the Soulful Menopause podcast. Discover how to transform the chaos of menopause into vibrant health and a soulful life you'll love. I'm Sally Love, natural nutritionist and soul wisdom coach. I want you to experience a soulful menopause that'll guide you into the best years of your life. Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 7 of the Soulful Menopause podcast. Well, I can't believe it, but I suddenly realized I have got to episode 7 without even discussing nutrition. I thought, wow, it's about time that I did that. And I sort of wondered why. And then I suddenly thought, you know what? I think that this is some sort of sense of subconscious overwhelm, about how I actually talk about it with you. Because I'm a holistic nutritionist, so I see a big picture as well as all the individual little parts that make up that big picture. So I think probably the best way to describe it is imagining that if you were consulting me on a one-to-one basis, I look at everything that's going on with you from even before you were born all the way up to present day. And it's not just looking at your physical health, but it's, and everything that's gone on there. It's also looking at your environment and your thoughts and your stresses and things that you love about life and things that you don't. And so it's rather like this, 10,000 piece jigsaw puzzle that I'm looking at all of these little pieces and then finding the link between all of those to bring it together to look at the bigger picture. So maybe you can understand a bit now about why I felt this sort of sense of overwhelm when it comes to speaking about nutrition, because it's not just as simple as, oh, I've got these hot flushes, well, you take this then. Or, I've got this skin condition, oh, well, take this then. When you're a holistic nutritionist, it just doesn't work like that. So I think that's why I found it really overwhelming to start talking about nutrition with you. It can become really overwhelming for me to start sort of thinking about breaking it down and discussing on a general level with people. If you're not consulting me one-to-one, if you're not, in a group coaching session with me, it can be really difficult to get across exactly what a holistic nutritionist does and why I won't say, oh, okay, then you just take this or take that and you'll be fine. Not many people really understand what a holistic nutritionist does. And in fact, whenever somebody's actually asked me what I do, I've often had the response with, oh, well, my diet is fine. And that's the level of understanding that it goes to. And there's really, not much understanding at the moment about how powerful nutrition is. And I'm actually going to say holistic nutrition, how powerful holistic nutrition is for improving your health and well-being and preventing disease as well. And you may well have heard of the famous quote by Hippocrates, "Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food." And that is so true. We've really, unfortunately, in modern day times, moved away from the healing power of food. And, it's no wonder, really, with so many diseases out there, it sort of goes to show that we've done that. It's actually showing in our health and our well-being. There's more obesity, there's more diabetes, there's more heart disease. Food can radically change our health in many ways. It can alter our hormones. It can prevent heart disease, prevent diabetes, prevent obesity, prevent osteoporosis, prevent high blood pressure, significantly reduce your chances of getting cancer. And, I could go on and on and on. And that's another good point that I want to make, is that eating well and right for you as an individual, because it depends from one person to the next, is an amazing way for you to thrive in life. I mean, if we don't have our health, then what do we have? If we don't have great health, it really restricts our lives. And, as I said, nutrition can significantly reduce your chances of getting cancer. And it astounds me that even today, there's very little energy going towards prevention. It's all going towards cure. So it's like everybody just goes on with their lives, doing everything that destroys their health. And then we only address things when we're sick. And sometimes then it's actually, unfortunately, too late. Well, why are we not looking at prevention? And, as we're using more and more drugs, we seem to see that people's health seems to be getting worse. We are actually realizing that a lot of drugs are actually undermining our health. And, I don't want to dismiss allopathic medicine at all and drugs at all, because certainly a lot of drugs are just completely life-saving. But I think that we really need to start looking more seriously at nutrition as a way of actually moving people's health and well-being into thriving and not just existing. And in fact, we are starting to see a trend to this. There's something now called nutrigenomics. And this is really the science about how nutrition affects your genes. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Bruce Lipton. His amazing book, The Biology of Belief, I highly recommend. I read that many years ago when it first came out. And what Bruce Lipton goes on to talk about, he's a cellular biologist, by the way, is that we are not controlled by our genes. He's turning this on its head. A lot of scientists believe that, a lot of diseases out there are genetic and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, Bruce Lipton says, actually, that's not the case. We are not controlled by our genes. Actually, I think he says only about 1 to 5% of disease is actually due to a dysfunction in cellular genetics. And a really lovely analogy I like, I'm not quite sure whether Bruce Lipton talked about this, I can't remember where I heard this, but I absolutely love it. And it's a really great way of understanding epigenetics. And this is that if you imagine your genes as like the bullets in a gun, they don't just get fired off just by being in the gun. Somebody actually has to pull the trigger. And it's our environment that actually pulls the trigger. Now, when we're talking about our environment, we are talking about everything and exactly as a holistic nutritionist looks at your health and well-being. We're not just looking at your food, but we're looking at your thoughts, your emotions, your literal environment, the toxins that you're exposed to every day. We're all exposed to toxins every day, but it depends like what toxins and how much, because there's only so much that your body can actually deal with and process. And so there's toxins in the environment for, in your home, your cleaning products that you use, your carpets, your furniture, your body moisturizers, your shampoos, your conditioners, your makeup particularly. Makeup's got a lot of toxins in it. Your moisturizers that you use on your face, etc. Do you eat organic food or not? Because if not, then you're more likely to be eating more pesticides. So all of these things have a huge impact on whether that trigger is pulled or not, and whether those genes are then activated to express some dis-ease or disease in your body. So, the epigenetics, nutrigenomics is really how a holistic nutritionist works. So we're not looking just, okay, you've got this ailment in your body, here you are, eat this food. We're looking at what's going on physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So everything works together. Nothing works in isolation. And I really feel that that's something that we've lost over the years with allopathic medicine. People have to obviously excel and specialize in certain areas, and I specialize in menopause. But we have to see that nothing in the body is working in isolation. We can't just isolate the hormones, because the hormones have a major impact on all of the organs in the body. And then, and that goes out to every single cell in the body. And that affects how you think, and it affects how you feel, and it affects to what food you're drawn to eat. It affects what cravings that you're going to have. And so if you're just working in isolation in one area, you're actually only looking at that one piece of a jigsaw puzzle, and that one piece isn't going to make a big picture. You've really got to see, okay, how do all the other little pieces interconnect? And then let's have a look and see what this big picture is for you. To truly heal, you must look at everything that's going on in the body, and most importantly, above all else, listen to what your body is telling you. Your body will always do its very best for you. And I love teaching people how to listen to their bodies, how to listen to the wisdom of their souls. This is my soul wisdom coaching, because it's that moves us in the right direction, instead of just getting caught up in all the confusion, especially when you've got symptoms with menopause and you start Googling it. Oh my word, suddenly it's like, this helps, this helps, this helps. And, you're looking at, try this one herb, or do this, or try this, try this, try this. And you end up trying all of these different things and find that nothing works. But yes, in some instances, you may find some improvement, but then you suddenly find, no, it drops off and it's not working anymore, or something else has come up as a result. And that's because you haven't actually been dealing with a core issue of what's going on under the surface level of things. And that's exactly how I work as a holistic nutritionist. So, for example, if you came to consult me one-to-one, I would actually have a look at your whole case history. I look at what's going on with you physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. I find out as much information as I can about your grandparents, where they lived, what their health issues were. The same for your parents. Any major stresses in their lives, any major issues going on for them. Then I look at what's going on with you and what's gone on with you from the time that you were born. How was your birth? Were you breastfed or not? Did you get your vaccinations? What vaccinations did you get? Did you receive lots of antibiotics when you were young because you were having loads of ear, nose and throat issues, for example? All these things are vital information for me. And then I also look at what's gone on in key times in your life. So, for example, when you get into puberty, that's a really important time in life when the body is going through a major shift. And if there's unresolved issues health-wise there, then your body will struggle at those points in time. Or If, for example, you're going through a really stressful time during those big transition times in life, then that will have a major impact long term as well. So these things are vitally important for me to know. And like I say, these are all the little pieces of the jigsaw puzzle that I'm putting together for you. So what I'm doing is building together your unique story. I'm finding the core reasons as to why. So, why you're suffering these particular symptoms. And so I'm not just stopping at the symptoms, which a lot of allopathic medicine does now, is like, oh, you've got this symptom, well, here you are, have a drug for that. I'm actually going, well, let's look at why you've got that symptom. It's sort of like going through the layers of an onion to the deeper and deeper and deeper layers until I get to the core reasons as to why. And that's one of the things that I love doing for my clients, because when a client gets the answer as to why, they may have spent years going through a particular issue. In fact, I've got a client at the moment who has had years of hormonal issues and never been given any answer as to why, and had still to this day not been able to put her hormonal issues right. And suddenly I was able to tell her why, and she was in floods of tears. And it was floods of tears from a relief. It's like, oh, there's an answer there. Finally, I have an answer, and finally we can start to put this right. So, instead of going out there, like I said, and getting overwhelmed by all these searches that you find of try this herb, try this lotion, try doing this, it just gets all overwhelming if suddenly you've got all these 10 different things you've got to do. You don't know what's working, what isn't working. And then that you find you trying all of these things and they're still not working. You're still in the same place that you were when you started, except you're feeling more overwhelmed and more stressed, which, by the way, really causes terrible health issues for the body. Or you could have even got worse in that time frame. So it really does pay to really start understanding what's going on those deeper levels. And when you're treating a symptom, let's say, for example, it's a skin rash or something, your body is producing that skin rash to release a toxicity and to communicate with you that there's something going wrong in the body that needs actually addressing. So if you end up just putting some cream on it, let's say you're using a steroid cream on there, what it's doing is actually suppressing it, preventing your body from releasing the toxins, releasing that dis-ease through the skin. It's preventing you from listening to your body anymore, because then that rash goes away and you think everything's fine. But actually underneath you haven't addressed the core issues as to why that's going on, and suddenly your body is unable to release it through the skin anymore, so it's got to find some other avenue. And unfortunately, if we suppress that too much, it can go on to a deeper and deeper level until it becomes a disease. So your dis-ease then moves to a disease. And I have a bit of a funny story here, is that when I was at college, I used to get so frustrated when we would ask in the class, okay, well, we have this client, and how do you treat sleep issues? And we would ask these questions, and what came back was, well, it depends. I remember I would get so frustrated with this, and I would just like, I just want an answer. And all I got back every single time was, it depends. What's going on with your client? What's their unique story that's got them up to that point? So I felt like I was never getting the answers at first. And and that really frustrated me for a while. And now I'm the one saying, well, it depends. So if you're feeling frustrated, I get you. It really does depend. What's going on with you? What is your unique story? And only when we know your unique story, we know what your core issues are, then we can actually really start to put things right. Now, that being said, there are some guidelines that I can give you to, really start to create some positive changes in your body to alleviate the symptoms of menopause without actually having to see me one-to-one. But do know that way we're not actually addressing your core reasons. But sometimes, that's all that's needed. It may well be that, your health is pretty darn good and all you need is that little tweak. And these are the things that I'm going to be sharing with you as the weeks and the months and the years go on. For example, balancing your blood glucose levels is of vital importance during menopause because your blood glucose levels directly impact your hormones. So if you can really bring your, they're talking about your blood sugar levels in your body, if we can get those really beautifully balanced with you, you're really going to start to see some major shifts. So that alone may well be all you need to actually eliminate the symptoms of menopause and for you to start feeling absolutely amazing. Also, reducing stress is really vitally important, as I've touched upon. There are loads of different types of stresses here, not just the stress that we feel in our day-to-day lives, but all the toxins that we're using in our homes, being aware of maybe whether you've, got a food sensitivity, maybe you're not drinking enough water and your body's a little bit dehydrated, therefore it's stressed, maybe you've got a lack of certain nutrients, your gut bacteria could be out of balance. These are all different aspects of stress which affect your body in a big time as well. So that's something that's vitally important to put right. And sometimes, once again, just focusing on that alone could just eliminate all of your symptoms. So there are some very, basic guidelines that I can help you with if you're not consulting me one-to-one or joining one of my group programs. So these are the sorts of things that I'm going to be sharing with you as the weeks and the months go by on my podcast. But please do make sure that you have signed up to my group. So all you need to do is just go to soulfulmenopause.com. And at the moment, I'm giving away a free meditation called The Magical Forest, and it's where you get to go on this beautiful magical journey, and I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there are some delicious, really wonderful things in that meditation that can most definitely help you with sleep and most definitely help you to reduce those stress levels. So this meditation alone could be massively powerful for you for actually helping you to alleviate your symptoms of menopause. So make sure you pop to my website and go and grab that for free, and then I give away little bits of extras with the people who are in that group. So sign up to that on my website now. That's the best way to keep in touch with me and to also get offers on any group programs and things that I launch. You'll be the first person to hear about it. You'll probably get exclusive discounts there too. So there we go. There's a little introduction for you of holistic nutrition and how I work. I hope it was interesting for you. I would love to hear your comments as well. So please do leave those in the comments section, especially if you're listening on iTunes. You can put all of your comments and your feedback into the reviews section. So pop them in there. Please give me a star rating too. I'd really appreciate that. And also feel free to get in touch with me if you've got any questions via my website, soulfulmenopause.com. But right now, I would highly recommend, if you haven't done so already, to sign up from my website so you can get a free email from me each week, and that keeps you in the loop. It keeps you in a beautiful group of lovely women going through the same issues, all that we all share this soulful approach to menopause. It's not just about seeing what's going on with your symptoms, but we're really bringing in every level, physically, emotionally, mentally, and especially spiritually. This is a huge time. This is probably one of the biggest cycles of your life that you will go through, even bigger, than it was when you went through puberty. And we can really embrace this time now because we've got so much wisdom to share, and we can start moving forward into this fresh new start in our lives to really thrive and go out there and start having the opportunity to bring everything into our lives that we wish and that we dream and that we hope for. That's what I'm here for. I really want to help you achieve that in your life. This is the time when we should have vibrant health and well-being, and we should be really living beautiful, soulful lives that we absolutely love. So please get in touch. Visit soulfulmenopause.com. Grab your free meditation. It might be something else by the time you're listening to this, if you're listening to this a lot later than it was broadcast. But grab that free gift, whatever it is that I've got up there for you, and come and join the group. It would be lovely to have you there. To find out more about how you can live a soulful menopause, please visit soulfulmenopause.com. I'm really looking forward to being with you again soon. Bye for now.